Hi, welcome to the new normal exploring infinite possibilities.
Yes.
I'm Renata.
And I'm the new William.
The new William and the new William. Okay, I like it. Rebirth time.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what it feels like. It is, I'm seeing differently. And I teach that, how to see differently. Well, I'm seeing differently. I'm feeling differently. I'm walking better than I have in years.
I know. I was so excited when you shared that. So we don't really have a title for the show. Let's let the viewers in on it, though. I did put the power of 8 and 9. Mm-hmm. And what I was talking about is like 8, because you're 80 now. So you've got that energy of giving and receiving. And then 9, you're going to be 81 tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm saying it early because we're celebrating early today and tomorrow. You're going to be 81. So that was the 9. So the show really is just about you sharing your wisdom. Let's have a conversation.
I have that much wisdom.
Okay, I guess we're done then.
Bye.
Bye.
No.
We're just kidding you.
And you all have so much wisdom. And now is a time, as we're evolving, revolving, it's a time to share your knowledge.
To share your knowledge, because we're making a new planet.
Yes.
As we speak.
And if you have lived more than 5 years,
You say 5
you've
years?
got things to share.
Well, this is true. One of my good friends in Asia, her little daughter Dream is like a kick, and she's only, is she even 2? I don't think she's even 2, but she's like an amazing little girl.
It's
And making up words is part of it too.
the new children are like born, evolved. My great-grandson, 4 months old, he's communicating with the dogs. We've got 8 dogs.
Yeah.
And he's communicating with nature. He loves to be outside and making sounds. And he communicates not with words. And that's what we're all striving to do, is communicate so that no matter what language other people speak, what language they don't have, that we're still able to communicate.
Communication from the heart.
Thank you. Perfect.
And that's anchored in no one, you talk about that all the time. Using all your senses. That's the whole purpose of that, because there's so much that we're getting rid of now that you've got to have a center, some kind of center.
And the important thing of what you just said, I think, is that we've ignored for a few hundred years our 5 senses.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting rid of so much crap, we're replacing it, or can replace it, with nonverbal communication.
Right.
With celebration.
Yes.
The laughter, the joy of life. A lot of you have said,
Yes.
not in a negative way, I hope, that we laugh too much. I don't think we laugh enough. I think the important thing is, with all of the experiences I've had physically, emotionally, I'm able to laugh at them. And even when I was in a coma in a hospital, I hear stories about suddenly I'd just be immobile and laughing at people, laughing at things. And even the doctors would say, that means he's coming back. Well, it was weeks before I came back, but I was laughing. Even in those circumstances, if we have the right to say, today is a day when I'm really mixed up, messed up, and down. And it's funny.
It's good to be able to laugh at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the animal cards? You ever play with animal cards?
Oh, yes.
I used to get the coyote all the time, and I was like, I don't understand that. What is that? Yeah, like, be able to laugh at yourself. Like, don't take yourself so freaking seriously.
Because everything is really part of a story, a film, a play. It's an interaction. Nothing is just about one person.
So, William, what about this? We are way showers of the new emerging world. Yeah, we're creating that matrix as we
Good
go along.
statement.
Mm-hmm. We
And
are.
what's real for Renata might not be real for me. But we can let those two differences become compatible. I'm not trying to be Renata. She's not trying to be me, but we're finding ways to interact gracefully.
Right, and we all can do that, but you have to honor your own truth and where that
Oh,
lies
yes,
for
yes,
you
yes.
first. And that seems to be a big thing that's happening with a lot of us on the planet now is just letting go of the heaviness, the doubts, the beaten up, all that
And
stuff.
loving themselves.
Yeah, and that's a tall order nowadays because a lot of people don't
yeah,
know how
yeah.
to love themselves.
Yep. And I have said for years, and it wasn't my original idea, but I've said, if you want love in your life, you have to start by loving yourself.
Exactly.
And like attracts like, and it will bring you the love that you need.
Absolutely. That's the way it goes.
Absolutely.
And so when you are in this process, sometimes you get the lack of the self-love. That's like the first reflection that comes up for people. you
And
know?
one of the big sadnesses, I think, Renata, is that we as a culture of human, we've been taught to first see the negative.
That is so bigly ingrained in the human psyche, the
Yeah,
default
yeah.
mode of what's not right.
And so that creates a lot of competition.
Yep.
And in this new world that you and I, all of us, are building, we have to overcome competition
And
and be compatible.
be compatible and be like collaborate.
Oh, yeah, I love that word.
Collaborate feels smoother, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. And it's not that you are giving up anything, it's that you're attracting now the right for everyone to contribute a compatible energy so that we all are successful. You can be a successful hobo. You can be a successful business person. It's not about how much money you get, how much fame you get. It's about appreciating that you were able to reach a certain level. You did it. And if you didn't love yourself, you wouldn't have been successful. And so share that. Share your success.
Right, and sometimes it gets confusing because success means you've attained something. But the
Exactly.
something that you're talking about is the hugeness of your heart and the graciousness and the love that you have for yourself in terms of your journey, in terms of your humility, in terms of the lessons that you've learned. That's where your wisdom, it's all you. It's wrapped up all inside of you. And that's ready to be like shared outwardly. And it's not like a thinking thing necessarily, which is something you always say.
And that's why you've all heard me say many times, if you're working in an office, if you're the secretary, talk to the other people. Say, oh, you did a good job, or, oh, I love your earrings today. Or if you're the CEO, thank all the people for taking the time to come to work. Thank the people for accomplishing the job that you're just not interested in doing. Say, I didn't want to do that job, and you're doing such a great job. Thank you.
I mean, be with this little funny thought. Like everybody wants to stop at. Wow, words are challenging some days. Everybody wants to start at the top of the food chain. I want to be the CEO. I want to be the owner of. I want to be the. Well, you know what? It doesn't really work that way. That'd be kind of boring. Like what kind of shared experiences would we, like all little banty roosters coming into the CEO and just sitting there like, okay, so you reached the top. What else you got to share?
No.
What else is new?
And so that's part of what we're trying to do is build a world where everyone can be acknowledged.
Right.
Everyone can be saying, I'm happy being a secretary. I'm happy cleaning toilets.
At the moment, for what I'm doing.
For the moment.
It fits in with, I'm in school, or I'm not in school, or I'm married, or I'm not married. Whatever it is you're doing, and whatever it is you find yourself doing, it fits what you need to be doing.
At that moment.
At that
Absolutely.
moment in time.
And then you've created the right for new and wonderful things
For
to come.
new stuff to come, to allow it.
I remember many years ago, in this lifetime, I was working in the legitimate theater industry.
Yes.
And I would thank the people who cleaned the set after a show. I would thank and talk to the people who did the makeup. When we'd have a cast party, it wasn't just the cast, everybody involved, including the people who were ticket takers, and everybody was invited, everyone. And they could bring a friend, they could bring a husband, their wife, their lover. Everybody could be.
You had ushers back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
That was that word, ushers. I'm like, ooh, when people used to take you to your seat, they'd look at your ticket and they would take you to your seat.
Oh, yes, yes.
That was so elegant.
And it made everybody feel valuable.
Like it was a big deal. It elevated.
Yeah.
We like Burger King every now and then.
Yeah, I have a friend in Tokyo who calls those King Burgers.
King Burgers, yeah. Actually, it's a quality burger. But anyhow, I've noticed the last several times that we've been in line, they're very consistent on, welcome to Burger King. What can I do for you? And I can feel that they're serious about that.
Yes.
And then, and they repeat back your order. Is that right? Is that everything? I'm like, yeah. George and I split our burger, so they cut it for us. And so when we went through yesterday, I said to the girl, you guys do such a nice job from the time you drive in to the time you hand us our food. I so appreciate that. That girl behind the counter, like her whole energy shifted. We were at the drive-in. Her whole energy shifted, and she smiled. She says, is there anything else you need today? And I'm like, that's what's up. The customer service is back. People appreciating having jobs, and then just exchanging goods. That's what's up.
Well, years ago, my partner Ruth and I were living in Hawaii. And Ruth loved Burger King.
Oh, she liked Burger King too?
Oh, yeah.
She's my girl.
And she had a big old station wagon because we had a pile of dogs. And she'd go to Burger King, and they've got used to her, and they'd say, okay, now, do any of the tribe want a burger today? Because she'd buy burgers for everybody. And they would, I remember that one. No, just the meat, no cheese, no mayonnaise. And
they had the dogs' orders all down, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. And so the dogs should pull in, and people would actually take pictures.
Because they were excited about
because the
McDonald's.
dogs just were so joyful we're going to Burger King, yay, yay, yay. And yeah.
I wasn't going to Burger King.
Well, you nut. Again, it's fun.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, the other one. We're going to Sizzler. We're going to Sizzler.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, but my little chai used to love. George got chai on me. At Starbucks, the whipped cream. Oh, one day it's like chai had a taste of whipped cream. That's all over. It's just all over. And they would drive up. It's like, can we have a little cup? And then chai would be, and they would fill that cup up to the top.
Oh, sure.
It was great.
Yeah.
And just a small little thing just brings so much pleasure.
And all of you, it doesn't matter if you're working to pay the rent. Acknowledge other people. Acknowledge what's happening. Celebrate the day. Part of why I never had to worry about how much money I was making is because I was giving so much appreciation that the universe can't write me a check, but they sure made sure I was well taken care of.
And that's the way it's working nowadays, too.
And we can all be part of that. We can all make it and be successful. So if you want to be a CEO, great, do it. If you want to be a floor cleaner, it's okay, do it. You're as good as the CEO.
Yeah.
All of you start respecting each other, play with each other.
Respecting your value.
And if you have a home party in your home, invite people not in the same, quote, class as you. There's not going to be class anymore. Invite the people that do the dry cleaning, who do the cooking of the food. Invite everyone. I remember we were living in Phoenix, and I was working in a hospital, and I would invite the people who were the cleaners and whatnot to our monthly party. And a lot of people were offended. They didn't want to be with those people.
Well, you also told me a time that when you were in Phoenix and you were a minister and one of the people got sick and you took them to the hospital, right? And then they refused to treat them because they were native, wasn't that
They
the
were
story?
Native Indians, yeah.
Yeah, and then did they die as a result of that?
Okay, that was another story. We had a woman married to, quote, a white man, and they were in an accident. Because he was white, they took him in to the hospital. They wouldn't take her. They said she had to go to the Indian hospital. It took time to get something to drive her. No ambulance would take her to the... She died on the way.
Yeah, and so
And she could have been saved.
you hear those kind of stories, and we hear them all the time. You hear them all the time, and your blood can boil like MF, But that is then, and not saying that people have learned and it won't happen again. However, you have that humility inside of you now, and that heart knowing and wisdom. May not happen when you're watching, huh? Or when I'm watching.
And when they refused to take her, I quit my job.
Yes, I remember that, because you're like, well, wait a minute now. Let me just carry this all the way back down now. And this is that reflects on me too. I don't want to have anything to do
And
with
so
that.
people said, but what are you going to do for money? And I said, I can live on the street if I have to. I don't care. And, jobs were always there. I was fired 3 different times from teaching in university, in 3 different universities. And I would say to whoever fired me, thank you. Now I can work for someone who appreciates me.
There's always a blessing in disguise. And even the blessings now aren't even a disguise anymore. You just got to open up your eyes a little bit and just allow the newness to unfold. But you got to be focused on the inside of the things that are waking up, that have been dormant inside of you. It's not outside.
What things mean to you.
Yes.
If you're dissatisfied, don't blame anybody else.
No.
Don't blame yourself. Change. Just do something else. You're all talented. Everyone is talented.
Absolutely.
You've got many things that you were interested in as a kid. Now you can use those interests to find a new direction.
Like when you were a little kid, maybe you were always initiating getting in trouble.
Yep.
Okay, now, at nap time, that's probably not real good. You're disrupting everybody and the teacher doesn't get her little break. But as an adult in the corporate room, you're disrupting people. I'd say that'd be a good thing because people need to wake up. Sometimes they'll just repeat stuff because it's always been that way. So you see how you can morph a natural talent as being a rebellious little person into being a empowered, knowing you need to shake it up person.
And the more we shake things up, Andra Day, singer,
Oh, yeah.
she says, rise up, stand up for something. And people say, but I don't know what to stand up for. And her songs were about, and still are about, stand up for something.
It's rise up.
And there's so much going on in the world, you have to get together, work together, play together. 80 years old, I still go to demonstrations.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Andra Day and Rise Up, I heard her song, part of it, in a commercial. It might have been a Geico commercial, it might have been another commercial, but it was
It doesn't matter.
a commercial. I'm like, okay, Andra, hoping you're getting a little percentage of that royalty.
And I believe that she is getting a percentage from the universe. And I agree, people deserve to get something in return. But now, it doesn't have to be a percentage. It doesn't have to be the money. It has to be that they're getting something from the universe. The universe is saying, thank you for doing that, and they're going to bring her next big breakthrough.
And even, I hear what you're saying, so if the, the contract is not fair in terms of distribution, so often it's not when those things happen. If she's connected to the source that plugs her in, then she knows that. Right, so I guess that's a good thing to have our viewers remember. Don't get so stuck on how you think you want your greatness to come to you.
Exactly.
And be open and allow much more than I always say my little pea brain could imagine, at least my, human little pea brain.
Well, I've told you in the past, I've published 30-something books. I've never signed a book contract. I've never signed any kind of contract. I don't do contracts. If people can't trust me, I don't want to work with them in the first place.
And there's some of that old industry,
Yep.
It's always been done this way. Well, that's a good one for me. It's always been done this way, and so we'll just keep doing it this way. And so at each opportunity that comes, you can allow a newness to come in.
A newness, thank you.
A newness to come in. A newness to come in, yeah. Just allow it, and then not have to know exactly everything about it.
And
Because
so
it's new.
people would say, but, how are you going to get paid? I said, well, first of all, I write a book. I don't get paid. I don't want to be paid. All of my royalties went to charities, international charities, local charities. I'd see someone come up on the street and say, do you have $1? If their energy wasn't, quote, vibrant, light, I'd say, yeah, I have $1, but I'm not giving it to you. Or I'd say, yeah, let's go and have lunch together. And we'd go into a restaurant and have lunch.
It depends on how they're spinning their story. Because
Thank you.
even the person that's, begging on the corner or whatever they're doing, and regardless of their circumstances, they've come in to experience many things, and we all have the ability to morph our stories. We all do. So who am I to take that away from someone saying, poor person this or poor that? I don't know what they came to experience.
And that's it. What their soul needs, not what they think they need. There's a big difference.
There's a big difference, and there's a fine line we're saying. We just want to point out to you that we are in the midst of this huge transformation on our planet.
Oh, yes.
Way showers of a new emerging world. We're creating it as we go along. Like with each thought. Thoughts are things. We've said that. You can test that. But thoughts are things, and they manifest in your world. They're based on what's been going on in here will reflect outside somewhere for you.
In the universe, there is no time.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you give or do because you'll receive tomorrow, already you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
If you do something expecting something will be instantaneous, you're setting yourself up for problems. You will get your gift. You will get your reward in ways you don't expect. It will happen.
It's not linear. It's not like A equals B equals C all the way down to Z. In some instances it may be that way, but in terms of the real good stuff, it's that synchronistic time frame. And there is just that you being present with yourself and allowing the energy to flow.
Allow, yes, yes, yes.
There's so much in that allow. I mean, look what the first letter is of that word, which is A, which is like beginning, pioneering, you know?
But
Self-motivation.
also remember that in English, we say A through Z. But there are languages that have many more letters, words. And allowance in some languages does not mean the same thing as allowance in English. And so if you want to communicate, you have to also, I believe, get involved with your feelings, your energy. Convey the feeling of what you're saying with allow. What it feels like, what it stimulates.
All right.
So I've had a life of challenge, but every challenge has been the delightful opportunity to discover that I can still do things that just because I'm now at this age a little bit crippled, people say, but you can't, you shouldn't. But if it is comfortable and I want to do it, it's my choice to do it. Let people be. Don't tell them, well, when this happened to me 23 years ago, my kids were told he might live another 5 years. That was 23 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, don't let anyone or anything limit you. Medicine is good. Holistic healing is good. But also remember, everything that's good doesn't have to be good in your perception.
I'd let that one sink in for a second, William.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody out there takes everything that we're talking about, all of the ideas, and recognize that there's always something positive that will happen. It just might not be the positive that you've wanted or that you think you need.
Yeah, there is that. Yes, absolutely. I feel you on that one. There is totally, like, get out of the expectation thing. It's okay to have expectations. It's okay to have and assume. It's all good stuff. But sometimes you have to ask yourself, how's that working for you? Is it a little more better to be on the fly with some things? And then maybe a little more calculating with some other things, but then still being open to having all that shift on a dime. And then, maximum flexibility is like the part of the formula I'm working on these days is how flexible can you be, Renata?
And I'm not the most flexible person, but I've learned over the years that in this life, physical, emotional flexibility is not the total solution. There are some things that my soul needs to wade through.
But maximum flexibility is still a really powerful tool.
And
Absolutely.
allows you to wade through the mud.
Absolutely.
And so people say, I don't deserve this. If you didn't deserve it, it wouldn't be happening.
And see that tone that people use sometimes about deserve, it has to be like it's that fault thing. It's not a fault thing. But do I deserve the opportunity to evolve? Yep, that's a big deal. Do I deserve the opportunity? Do I deserve the opportunity to move forward? Do I deserve the opportunity to have grace or joy in my life and laugh?
Oh, yes,
I'd say
yes.
so. I feel
Yes.
like I deserve it, so that could be the thing for everybody else, too.
And allow everyone to have their experiences.
That's the deal. Have your experiences. And then share your experiences by really owning and having your own experiences, especially like in relationships where you're around each other all the time. It's really easy to take each other for granted and to think that you know what the other person needs or doesn't need. And you can be so far from, that particular truth for them. So I always like to say, mind your own business. There's gold in there.
I had a client, not here in America, not in Japan, and the client had a series of negative things in her perception happen. She couldn't deal with it, wouldn't deal with it, because she wouldn't let go of it. And why did it happen? My answer was, it happened because it happened. That's why. But then holding on to it, living it day after day after day, year after year, it was recreating, attracting other garbage. And so we have to learn to live in the moment. Mm-hmm. Yes, it happened. But it's not happening today. I loved when I was doing some work over in Cambodia, right after the Khmer Rouge phenomena. And I said to the people, but you're dancing, you're singing.
Yes, yes.
Why are you doing that? You know, millions were exterminated. They said, yes, but it's not happening today.
It's not happening
And I
today.
thought, what a wonderful statement.
You can extrapolate that to your life, can't you, William?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's that idea, be with yourself now.
Love yourself now.
To the best of your ability. It's not like it's some measuring stick.
I still have people in the spiritual, psychic, mystical world say to me, why did all of these things happen to you? Why have you been so physically damaged? I go, I don't really care why. I care that I'm still doing, going, and exploring.
True story.
I'm sure that if I hadn't been injured so many times, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to find out that I could write.
Absolutely. Sometimes those gifts are
Oh,
stored
yeah.
in different places.
Oh, absolutely.
And different spaces, for different times of evolution. And then, if you hadn't done all that, then we wouldn't have the relationship that we have, which is wonderful.
Oh, everything is interacted, gang. Everything.
I mean, that idea of us all being connected and all one,
Yep.
there's like a really woo-wah side to that makes no friggin' sense, Like you're not glued together. But that idea of, evolving consciousness is a real thing. And that's what we're all doing. That's part of the purpose of being here in human form this time, is to evolve the consciousness of the planet and ourselves.
Right. And so,
That's my opinion.
You and I are doing appearances at a Mexican restaurant here in town, Cocachina. And we just talk and share with people. We don't have an event. We have a communication with people. What's their idea? What are they looking for? Sharing, getting together. And that's what your life needs to be now, is find a way to interact with other people.
Find a way to move. And let's see, we were in the Goodwill yesterday, and some woman found some cute little top. I was over across from her, and she kind of like, we did this, and she's like, oh, I saw that. I was going to show it to you, but I didn't know you. I looked at her like, well, thank you. That's really cute. See, so she stepped out a little bit. She was nervous, but she took that little bit of, I didn't know you, and then we had that exchange. Us women are really miraculous at that little chit-chat exchange. That is powerful. Yeah. Do not underestimate your ability to talk about someone's jewelry or their colors or their hairstyle, or their smile, or whatever it is that you can get a conversation, eye contact going with, go for it, because that's the power tool right now. Be in someone's space and remind them of how beautiful they are.
And men, you're doing it much more than you were 40 years ago. When I first went to Asia, for instance, you'd never see men playing with their kids. Nowadays, you see men with backpacks and a kid in the backpack. You see them out in the dog park playing with animals. Men are evolving to recognize it's not about proving your masculinity, it's proving that you are a loving, creative being. And you're still in a masculine body. Women do it all the time. If a house falls down in a hurricane, who do you see out cleaning up the debris? The women. Because they know they can do anything. Women know I can build a house if I have to.
I
And I'll
know-
enjoy it when I'm doing
I know
it.
my sister-in-law has built a house. I know some
Sure.
people that have done that, knocked down walls and built
Yeah.
up cement and holes and poured all that stuff. So I know people personally that have done that for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But it's that idea of building and creating.
Yes.
We
And you
have
all
that,
can do it.
We have that. All of us have that in our DNA.
And it's not about male or female.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Nothing.
Although you use different tools at different times.
Of course.
You use the softer, maybe more feminine, receptive side, and then a little more aggressive, go after masculine side for different, effects. But eventually they meet in the middle.
When I was young, once upon a time I was young in this life, and men would say, I can't have babies, so I don't have to take care of mine. The women had the baby, let her take care of it. That's changing.
Yeah, it is.
I see men saying, oh, hey, if I can't have a baby and I want one, I'll just adopt one.
Yeah, they do that, and that's really cool because
And
there's a
it's
lot
exciting.
of unwanted children out there. I know our kids do when they were doing the diaper changing thing, which they're totally out of that now. Chanel would be like, "Michael, it's your turn to change the diaper."
Sure, sure.
And then Michael would be like, "Okay," and he'd go in the men's bathroom. And then I guess one time a guy said, "Oh, that's disgusting. What are you doing?" And Michael's like, "Well, I'm changing my daughter's diaper. It's my turn. You're good." So the whole value system has shifted, and I love
Oh,
I love just
absolutely.
watching the communication of families now with their kids. It's just a cool thing.
Well, my granddaughter, who just had the
Little Riley.
little Riley, the man in her life, he takes care of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
They travel together. They do all kinds of things, the three of them. It's, men are evolving. Women are evolving. It doesn't mean everyone is, but we're breaking down the barrier between cultures. We're no longer as prejudiced as we were 80 years ago.
I read a survey that said that and it was an overwhelming amount, 80% of the population still has not have a variety of friends, like they have just the
Oh, yes.
same ethnic friends that they, like, really? That was hard for me to imagine. But things are shifting, you're totally right.
Absolutely.
I went to a vendor event this week, and I want to share a little bit about it, because
Please.
it was really enlightening. There were probably about 12 or 15 different vendors up the street from my house, Adriatic Grill, and we had people that had like the LuLaRoe clothes. That was fun. I engaged with this young lady and talked with her for a while. There was a Mary Kay lady that I bought something from her. I bought some of that sugar scrub for my lips. There was a gentleman that had these really cool little camping stove knives. They had a soap person. I actually took some pictures of everybody. They smiled. It was really nice. Had some nice conversations. I know.
Renata
that's-
brought this, that
that cool?
one end is the spoon, the other is the fork. From that man.
I know.
Gang, we can create anything that works for everyone.
And you and I are talking about these vendor events, and while it's great to get people together, we need to just to juice them up a little bit, just to jazz them up a little bit. And I'm not really sure what I mean by that, but maybe a different kind of promotion. Maybe we should go down and interview everybody and talk to them. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, that's what we're doing on Thursday nights with
Right, at our event.
at the restaurant.
Right. That's
Yeah.
fun. But
We
then
go
take
around
that
to-
out and talk to people more.
Last week, I was out talking to one young couple that was ignoring us until I started talking to their 3-year-old baby, having a wonderful time. Pretty soon, they were part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So take the opportunity to share. If it's not with a adult, share with a kid.
Or the dog, or the
Oh,
cat.
yes.
They're always
Absolutely.
wanting to. I mean, I'm always seeing other people's dogs now. A girl had a really pretty pit bull that she rescued. Her name was Luna. And Luna was shopping with Mom. And Luna helped me find an outfit. So I said, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Luna. But Luna got it, So the animals get it, the kids get it. Now we just have to get it.
Okay, now, dogs interact with dogs of different breeds. But people think pit bulls are not going to mix well with a chihuahua. That's not true.
That's not true.
And If you're going to have a party at your house, invite people of different cultures, different races, different languages. And I'm not judging. Well, yes, I am. Most of the parties that I've attended over my 81 years were very restrictive. People had the same amount of money. They had the same color. They still don't invite a maid. They don't invite a taxi driver. Come on, they're all just people doing what they are doing. It doesn't mean it was good or not good. It just means they're doing what they have to do. And so we have to all now take the responsibility of interaction. If you're having a party, invite other people. If you're traveling, go into Canada as an example. Don't just go with areas that speak only American English. Parts of Canada speak French. Be with the people that are local. Get to know the local people wherever you travel so that they feel comfortable, you feel comfortable, so that we can build really the true world family.
Absolutely. And I observe a lot of people doing multicultural events.
Oh, yes.
I totally do. I mean, in my world, I see that an awful lot. So I know that is happening.
Oh, it is, yes.
But clearly, we could consciously be aware that we could invite and be more inclusive, just more inclusive in our language, for instance.
Oh, yes, yes.
And not assuming that everybody gets it in the same way that you get it. That's probably the biggest bit of snobbery that I see out there, at least in the metaphysical community. Is just assuming that ascension means the same thing to everybody. And first, you got to unify.
It doesn't.
You got to unify on the inside. You got to ascend into your heart, and then open up from there, actually. And then, once that process is underway, then a lot of things are just allowed and doors open and the opportunities come to you. So ascension's not like a tried thing.
And ascension means different things in different cultures.
Yes, it does.
And so we have to be willing to not necessarily agree with other people, but allow them to have their right, their belief.
Allow them to have their right. And if someone says that they like mermaids, and they walk up to your little jewelry counter like I did at the vendor thing, the paparazzi young lady, and she says, "Oh, I've got mermaid jewelry." I thought she was going to pull out a mermaid jewelry, but what she did is she pulled out this cool little wristband. It's sparkly, and I have a little sparkly outfit that goes with it. So this is my little mermaid wristband. I'm a merwoman. Like, why can't I be a merwoman?
Of course.
I relate to it.
I was just working with a client in Tokyo online, and I was talking to her about the mer people. She said, "I don't know what that means. I've heard of mermaids, but is that the same thing as a mer person?" She didn't know that they were mermen.
Yeah.
And so we have to start opening our feeble little brains away from the logics of the knowledge that somebody else has written and start appreciating that there are new things. For instance, a lot of people say, and this is just recently on the U.S. government Pentagon, they've announced that UFOs are a reality.
Okay, they have been for a while.
But then they said, they're in our airspace, so they must be here for a negative reason. So we have to know who they are so we can fight against them. We can defend against them. If they wanted to blow us up, that would have happened a hell of a long time ago, gang.
Yeah, and how do you know they aren't blowing us up and blowing us off right now? So there's some darker energy on our planet for sure. There'll always be a little bit of that happening.
Yeah, but you just said on our planet. And that is what I say. They are assuming because we're negative, then the UFO people are negative. That's not true. No. Look at the fact that they might be there for a positive reason. They're there If they were going to take us over, it would have happened. And they said, well, they have to, in the thing the U.S. government put out, it said there's not even a track of propulsion. And so they must be using something weird because they're not using gas, they're not using electricity. And they have systems that we could evolve to, instead of saying the only propulsion we have is either gas or electricity. Do all kinds of other things.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting on where we're starting to get our feed of information.
Oh,
you
yes,
know?
yes.
I mean, all of it's highly suspect, in my opinion. So Dream World is good. Dream World is pretty powerful in terms of, new insights, but I'm not watching much of the news,
Because the news is not an answer. It's not. You have to find your answer. You find what works for you. And then celebrate it. Enjoy it. Spend time with your kids. Spend time with the neighbor's kids. Enjoy life. Life is not about how much money you can make. It's about how much love you can share. And then we can build a world where there doesn't have to be constant war.
Yeah, there's a lot of warring going on in man's heart. So we're getting a stopping point right now
Okay.
for us to be able to, move in a new direction. So we are way showers of a new paradigm, a new energy, a new planet. Any words you want to use for that, as long as it involves, rebooting, realigning, newness, infinite possibilities. And then in my storybook, those are good words to use. So, it's just almost that time for us to close. I'm looking at the clock going, oh, darn it.
And closing is really just the opening of a new door.
And there's also many ways to look at everything that happens with you
yes,
as it
yes.
moves through you. So that's like sometimes I used to stop the process as it moved through me. Like, well, I'd be up here, Now I just let it move through.
And what you're describing is true for every living human being. But watch the animals. They communicate brilliantly. Learn how they do it. In fact, I'm doing a workshop online on Friday about how to communicate without language.
Yeah, okay.
And it's exciting.
And I think we all do that anyhow, but maybe we just don't acknowledge that that's happening more than less.
And that's important. You have to acknowledge it. There are so many people who still don't realize that they are constantly communicating with animals, plants, trees. And so it's learning how to follow instinctively without language.
There is that allowing part, isn't it?
Allow.
Yeah. It's just a thing, and you move through it and you're more graceful about it. Sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
But, I love to say love the good, bad, ugly, and all in between of you. Because it's your experience. You are the present to be unwrapped in the presence of others.
And there are a lot of people who look at good, bad, ugly. Good is good, bad is bad, ugly is ugly. Each of them can be good. Each of them can be bad. Each of them can be ugly.
And that's why I say an all in between,
Yeah, I love that part of it.
Yeah, so you just mix it all up. But we're in charge of the stories that we tell ourselves.
Big statement.
Even if you don't want to claim it, we're in charge of the stories that we tell ourselves and the stories that we choose to share. So just open up and allow yourself to be seen.
New subject. On the 27th of May, if you feel like going out to have a snack or a dinner, come to the Cucina near the Marlene's, near Crystal Science or whatever it's called.
You're going to People all lost. We got it on
It's
our
someplace.
You're
Come
good.
and visit us.
I know when you don't drive anymore, you're like, just take me there. You're good.
Yeah.
But we do have the flyer posted on the Universal Life. Thank you, Max. The UniversalLifeAlliance.org page, and you can get the directions exactly where to go. So you're good. Do join us 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, and if you ever want to have 5 or 6 people or more at your home, you can always make an appointment with Renata or William or both of us to come and be part of your arrangement that we can share. Renata's a brilliant healer.
Thank you.
Well, look at my condition.
I know, and I'm
It
just,
is so much.
the structured
falls
water was
back
really,
on you.
I'm taking it, but it's just
Good.
like, it's cool that when you said the other day, I'm walking like, what? You're not using? No, I'm walking down the park without my little jazzy. I'm like, you're what? And I said, George, oh, that's cool. I wonder if the water has something to do with it. Then you confirmed that, and thank you
definitely.
for that confirmation. So, but I'm just so much into the ability of our body to regenerate and self-heal. I've known that for a long time, and I'm actually proof of that for myself. I know that to be true for me, period. So I don't have to explain that to anybody. But to be able to share that wisdom that I have in some sort of tool that I utilize was just really, I love my favorite word, satisfying.
Yes. And
It
so,
was just satisfying.
anyway, you have all these resources. It's time to take advantage of them.
Yes.
Because we all need to work together, live together, play together.
And, at this, it's time to level up, big time.
Hi.
It's time to level up big time. And so, come join us on the 27th.
Oh, sure. Yes, yes, yes.
We plan to do it regularly, and we're looking to collaborate with other like-minded souls to create other kinds of events. Like we said, the vendor events, they're fun, but we could just, we could elevate them up a little bit to make them be more inclusive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We all have tools and talents out there, but we need to get that message out there even more. We need to have people feel the energy, because everything is energy.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy.
And so, like I say, if you want to have Renata or me or both of us, make an appointment and we can come to your home, visit with your friends, talk about any of these topics. It's time to live sharing ideas. We're not here by chance. None of us. We're here to be part of creating the new norm.
It's time to unisolate
Yes,
and engage.
yes.
Yeah, unisolate and engage. So,
Go for it.
okay, and let's have Max pull. And this is a message for everybody. If you haven't noticed how our personal message actually move and morph to more of a universal message, because we're talking to all of you, like all of you are talking to us. Thank you, Max. So we got a universal message here for everybody.
Got problem. Make it light. Make light of it all so you can see clearly. And live your light. Don't just talk about it. If you talk light, but you're not living the light, that's where the problem comes.
That's where the problem is big time, and you can't fake.
No,
You can't fake when you're in your heart.
that's right.
You can't fake connection. You can smile a lot, but that gets tiring after a while. So got problem? Make light of it all so you can see clearly.
Yes,
Thanks, Max.
yes.
And that was a 7. That's about that inner reflection, of which you carry that 7 energy in doing your numerology chart. You get a lot of 7, which is cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
So 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. I made a synchronistic connection. I'm always wanting to do that anyhow.
The important thing is, yesterday's gone. Love it. You'll never forget it, but you don't have to focus on it.
You don't have to list it. You know that show, Love It or List It? Have you seen that? We watch.
I have no idea what you're
We
talking
watch
about.
too many DIY shows. George and I do, but it's all good.
Do I?
Yeah, do it yourself.
I have trouble keeping up with the verbiage of the current era.
Isn't it interesting? Everything's got an acronym, the Internet of Things and the blah, 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 blah.
Now, for me as an antique, much of it I just don't want to hear about because it's I don't know what most people are talking about.
But you know what? I know one that you made up and I like it. What is it? IDM.
IDM. It don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It don't matter to me.
So
It doesn't.
go in peace, go in light, and most of all, let the light shine.
Absolutely. And we'll see you all like on the 27th at Cochina Mexicana Restaurant. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to say Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen. I like to say that. Oh, and I'm going to give you just a little, I'm going to wheel around here and give you to their hug.
Thank you. So,
Bye.
thank you.